The JFK assassination is the granddaddy of conspiracy theories. A range of powerful people hated Kennedy, and there are some really suspicious coincidences in the case, including that the alleged assassin got whacked while in custody without any obvious motive. The deep state also seemed complicit just 5 years later in murdering JFK's brother and Martin Luther King. By far and away the most popular conspiracy explanation hangs on one main detail: that there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll. This is why there were so many arguments about which way JFK's head moved when he was shot. Would he get knocked backwards by a bullet from the front? Or would such a shot have just sliced through his skull like butter without moving him at all? Could the shot from behind have caused him to recoil? And the fact is, experts differ, so I'm not getting into any of that. My crucial point is this: if the bullet came from the front, i.e. the direction of the grassy knoll, there would be a very visible exit wound on the back of the head, especially given that there is a huge spray of blood from the supposed entry wound. And on the video, as you can clearly see after the moment of impact, there is no hole in the back of the head, no exit wound at all. Therefore, the deadly shot could not have come from the front. Rather, it looks like it grazed the side of the head, which is consistent with the official story. Witness statements refer to a hole in the back of the head, but there is not one on the actual footage. For decades, this absence of a wound was ignored. This is partly because the actual moving footage didn't emerge for years, but also because in Oliver Stone's brilliant movie, he focused only on the head movement. But eventually, the question had to be asked: how could there be a grassy knoll shot with no exit wound? In the 2000s, some conspiracy theorists started to say that this crude patch of black must have been added to the back of Kennedy's head to cover up the exit wound and look like hair. Asking whether this was possible isn't just a matter of curiosity. It gives us the opportunity to disprove the conspiracy. Because there is a consensus among the researchers, including the vast majority of conspiracy theorists, that they know where the footage was just after the assassination weekend. It was copied and sold to the media, so no changes were even hypothetically possible after the first couple of days, as they'd have been noticed immediately on the copies. So, the conspirators would have needed to intercept the film, transport it to a secret lab, identify inconsistencies with the autopsy, decide what to do, manually paint a fake wound at the front of the head, and add the black patch of fake hair to the back of the head on all relevant frames, and then print several copies. Experts say the tech aspects alone would have taken 8 hours with perfect execution. No one except the tiniest subset of Kennedy conspiracy theorists seriously thinks there was even enough time. Now, finding the crucial point, the weak spot in a case, is the right method. But JFK is the granddaddy of conspiracy theories. It can still throw up complications. Because a couple of CIA intelligence analysts claim something fishy happened that weekend. Dino Brugioni, the world's leading image manipulation specialist, was adamant that the raw footage he worked on that weekend was different to what the public ended up seeing. He said there was more blood and it was on more than one frame. Was this proof that video evidence had been tampered with? Well, Brugioni's testimony was given 46 years after the assassination. And why would the conspirators spend vital hours asking Brugioni to make extra briefing boards of the original footage? Why not just burn the film? Brugioni's colleague, meanwhile, cheerfully admitted to investigators at the time, "I have senile dementia." I wonder if the two men mixed up the fantastical November job with a mundane job they did on the footage the following month. Oliver Stone has disagreed with me strongly on the case, but even his closest colleague on the assassination, Jim DiEugenio, has refuted the altered footage thesis in great depth. Jim thinks he can see, on the Zapruder film, a hole in the back of Kennedy's head. Kennedy's death did change history, for the worse. The investigations into his murder have been fascinating, and have led to shocking discoveries. But there was no grassy knoll shooter. To believe it, you'd have to believe the key footage was amended in an accelerated operation, for which the only evidence is old men thinking that they recall working on slightly different imagery to what the public were eventually shown. President Trump's Kennedy files have revealed nothing new pointing to a coordinated murder. In fact, for years, the security state has explicitly indicated it's using declassified JFK documents as part of its public management strategy. People jump down rabbit holes all the time. People see what they want to see all the time. It is important to understand mysteries from every angle, but it's pivotal to select the key piece of evidence, to shake down the most falsifiable piece of evidence, the crucial point. I've investigated some big conspiracies. Some went really well.
By the national security state in the United States.
Others went weird. Join me, Matthew Alford, on YouTube for short films and commentary on conspiracies, power, and propaganda.